'Twas summer in Alaska, way out on those Yukon flats. Down Nugget Street came Yukon Pete in boots and bearskin cap, with whiskers waving in the breeze. He was a grisly sight, and a sack of gold dust in each hand to celebrate the night. I'm a real wild moose and I'm on the loose, and I aim to have my fun. With a game of chance and a gal to dance, I'm the devil's great-grandson. Before this night is over, I might make your calaboose. But set me free, boy, let me be a wild moose on the loose. A dance hall gal called Sugar Sal said, Pete, I'll take a chance. The gas lights glowed, the red eye flowed into the night they danced. The word went round that mining town that Pete was on a spree, and the miners came from miles around just to have a drink for free. I'm a real wild moose and I'm on the loose, and I aim to have my fun. With a game of chance and a gal to dance, I'm the devil's own grandson. Before this night is over, I might make your calaboose. But set me free, boy, let me be a wild moose on the loose. By 3 p.m. his sights grew dim when all at once he saw that big brown frame of muskeg mame, his fiery engine squaw. She threw a noose around that moose and he whimpered like a child. And she drug old Pete down Nugget Street, you could hear him half a mile. I'm a real wild moose who was on the loose, but I've had my final fling, and I've got no use for your calaboose. You could hear that sourdough sing. I'm heading back for my mining shack, dangling from a noose. And I'll dig for gold till my heart grows cold for that squaw and 10 papoose. With my head in that noose, each year one more papoose. 'Cause muskeg Mame has learned to tame the wild moose on the loose.
Come on, Bill, we've got to keep on moving or we'll die. We've got a mountain we must climb, it isn't very high. Listen, Bill, you still can hear the breakers as they pound. We've got to reach Kalinan Bay before the sun goes down. One winter in Alaska, a Sitka boat rode on the morning tide. The boat was named the Pelko, and aboard 2 men were safe and warm inside. But winter winds blew up, the cold dark water smoked and rolled. The skipper and the man called Bill to watch smoking blowing cold. With darkness creeping in, Kalinan Bay came into sight. They headed up the entrance and started to pass the night. They settled in and drank some Goddard gotchas while the skipper told a tale of how Sea Lion Cove would fill with untold sea-tossed treasures in a gale. When Bill cried, "Now's the time to go," the skipper said, "Hold down. We'd have to climb across this island or take the skiff the long way round. And both ways have their dangers, Bill, without the blowing snow." But he fell asleep knowing that in the morning they would go. The next day in Kalinan Bay, the sky was dark and snow still coming down. The Pelko lay at anchor while they ran the skiff by Salisbury Sound. But again the snow began to blow when they hit Sea Lion Cove. A breaker caught the skiff, and like a matchstick it was stove. More breakers tossed them on the shore. The little skiff was gone. They had to get back to the Pelco before the night came on. Ah, come on, Bill, we've got to keep on moving or we'll die. We've got a mountain we must climb. It isn't very high. Listen, Bill, you still can hear the breakers as they pound. We've got to reach Galena Bay before the sun goes down. Cold and wet and tired, they had to cross the frozen island through the snow. Looking back at Bill, the skipper wondered how much farther he could go. Behind them surf was roaring, while ahead the island rose. The skipper had to keep Bill moving, or by night time they'd be froze. He'd climb ahead to break the trail and go back down to help his friend. Then when he finally saw the Pelco, turned around and called again. Ah, come on, Bill, we've got to keep on moving or we'll die. We've got a mountain we must climb. It isn't very high. Listen, Bill, you still can hear the breakers as they pound. We've got to reach Galena Bay before the sun goes down. Come on, Bill, we've got to keep on moving or we'll die. We've got a mountain we must climb. It isn't very high. Listen, Bill, you still can hear the breakers as they pound. We've got to reach Galena Bay before the sun goes down. We've got to reach Galena Bay before the sun goes down. We've got to reach Galena Bay before the sun goes down. We've got to reach Galena Bay before the sun goes down.
Ah, you're a lifesaver. Yes, it is that time of year again. Back to school time. Time to buy all those new school clothes and supplies, get your checkups with the doctors, and time to watch for school buses and slow down in school zones. You never know when a child may step into the street without looking. Give the kids a break. Keep your eyes open and keep the kids safe. This back-to-school safety message is brought to you in part by Logan General Tax Practice and the Jordan Creek Condos, by Alaska Electric Light and Power, and by all of us here at KATOO-TV.
Make the right choice.
What are the danger signs of an electrically unsafe power tool? A, it has a frayed cord. B, the ground plug has been removed. Or C, it's soaking wet. The answer? All of the above. Before you plug in, look out for frayed cords and damaged plugs. And only use power tools that are safe and dry.
Make the right choice.
Stay safe.
AELNP.
Those of us who choose Southeast Alaska as our home share a spectacular land, the Inside Passage, which touches each of our communities, and our weather. Some suggest the weather in Southeast comes in only two conditions, rain and about to rain. And some think the annual precipitation should be measured, like the Inside Passage, in fathoms. But the fact is, our marine climate produces our unique corner of the world. Good evening, I'm Scott Foster, and welcome to Rain Country, a weekly television journal of the places, faces, and activities that join us together as Southeast Alaskans. We begin, appropriately enough, underneath the water, with one of the Earth's mightiest creatures and the whale man of Southeast, who's made a career studying them.
They're 45 feet long, but feed on small herring and krill. They winter in Mexico and Hawaii, but migrate 3,000 miles to summer in Southeast Alaska. They weigh 33 tons, but can jump their entire body completely out of the water. Humpback whales are the sight of Southeast Alaska, and Chuck Giraz is the whale man of Southeast and beyond.
And I suddenly recognized that the wind at my back, just a light breeze, had been blowing me closer and closer to this animal. And I then recognized that if I didn't move myself, I would literally blow right up onto its back, so I'd better move. So I lifted up the oar, I inserted it into the oarlock. I took a sweep on the oar and made a high screeching sound of metal on metal. And that animal, much as a young man flexing his muscle, became very well defined. The center of the body rose out of the water in what obviously was a flexure of the nose dropping towards the tail and the tail dropping towards the nose, and then a tremendous thrust on that tail threw the animal down. And I thought, oh, gee, I've wakened a whale. And I was okay for about a half a minute. My camera's last shot was at 15 feet. That was the focal set. The next thing I knew is I saw this vessel rise out of the water because it looked like a Nautilus submarine coming out, and it went up. I grabbed my camera in time to take a picture. Remember, focused at 15 feet. The only thing that's in focus is a wall of water and droplets at 15 feet. The animal then breached 7 more times, which allowed me 2 pictures with my hand steady and probably 3 more very, very quivery, because I recognized, Giraz, you've done yourself in. If this animal lands on you, you are dead.
It didn't, and Giraz isn't. What he is a Juneau High School biology teacher who grew up in the dry flatlands of the Midwest, but became fascinated with whales when he moved to Juneau in the mid-60s. After spending some 60,000 hours on the water watching them, Giraz stopped counting the time, but continued the work. Since then, Giraz and his nonprofit education and research organization, SeaSearch, has made a series of discoveries that have placed their names among the serious whale researchers in the world. Giraz ticks off facts about humpbacks as smoothly as water running off the whale's back.
Here in Southeast Alaska, if you go out in the winter and you see a whale, wouldn't surprise me if the downtime is 1/2 hour. Right. If we only have 5 hours of daylight, then you might only see that animal 10 times in a daylight hour, okay, or in daylight period. In contrast to that, in the summer, an animal might be down for 8 minutes, or 5 minutes, or 3 minutes, and then come up to the surface and take 8 breaths just in between that. Okay, that means, of course, we see much more of the animal. The behaviors in the summer are much more dynamic. There are surface activities. The feed is near the surface. Their arguments with one another occur at the surface. In the winter, fewer arguments. The feed is down deep. The activity is very, very, very reduced.
Where they congregate depends on the patterns of human movement and feed.
There's very little question now, but that aside from feed characteristics, whales are responsive to what we do as human beings. And when we use an area a lot with vessels, there's no question that the animals respond to that use, and they respond to that use on the basis of, if I may use the expression, personal space. That is, how much space do they have?
It's not surprising that upon seeing the blow from one of the estimated 600 whales that are in Southeast in the summer, boaters frequently turn toward the mammal for a closer view. The law says you will not pursue humpback whales and will not upset their habitat by fouling their water or taking their food.
When an animal is as exciting in its proximity to ourselves as a whale can be, there's no question that people will, quote unquote, as defined in the law, pursue a humpback whale. They will go to it, that's pursuit. And they will do it more than once. And they will do it oblivious of how their vessel sounds. Okay? So, do I feel that people ought to pursue them? Yes, in order for people to learn. Do I feel that that's deleterious in some cases? Absolutely, provably deleterious in some cases.
Surveys show 80% of tourists coming to Alaska want to see wildlife. A killer whale Giraz and his students brought to Juneau to dissect proved his point about local public interest in whales.
And what's very apparent now is that when we put a killer whale out on the tarmac there at the Marine Tech Center, in a single day, 750 people come by, and we think, oh my goodness, you'll not tap that. And the next day, over 1,000 people come to look at that animal. And those are all community people. Now, it's obvious that in this community, we want to show people what whales are about. In terms of tourism, there is no question that if we present things like that full-bodied whale out there, and we show them what the lungs and the heart and the genitalia look like, that will impress them. That will make them happy that they learned something that was worth going 2,000 miles to go find out about.
Giraz thinks the public needs to have access to whales, but hopefully not disturbing them. The solution? Make replicas of whale skeletons.
Make it out of fiberglass and epoxy resin, put it up in a place where they can go up and touch it, and you'll find people are extremely happy with that experience here, and that's what will count.
Giraz can make accurate replicas by studying real whales. In 1981, 2 whales were found on the beach in Seymour Canal on Admiralty Island. Giraz took 114 students from 3 different high schools who for 2 solid months from first light until after last light dissected and studied the whales.
We began in January, and we worked all of February and all of March, and literally on April 1st of 1981, we delivered 2 full sets of bones to Juneau at the docks here. We retrieved every single bone. We retrieved the baleen. We recorded where the barnacles were on the body. We recorded where the lice were on the body. We identified what pigmentation patterns existed, and went through the entire body with blubber thicknesses and tissue samplings, and we even checked for the level of DDT and PCBs in the blubber.
And so Chuck Giraz continues his study of whales, collection of their bones, and plans for replications so the general public can have access to this marvelous creature.
name is Jim Marquardt, and I live in Juneau. Travel to Haines a lot. And one of my favorite activities in Southeast is probably hunting, plus hiking, fishing, traveling on the ferry when it's a nice day.
My name is Lynn Stevens. I'm from Juneau. My favorite activity up here is scuba diving, and I guess my favorite place is Haines. I have some property up there, and the weather's nice, and I love it up there.
We're from Ketchikan, Alaska. My name's Pat Fordney, and I have my little girl Kara with me today. And I'm afraid our favorite activity is beachcombing. We spend our life at the beach there in Ketchikan. And I suppose picking berries and hiking the trails there.
My name is Evelyn Dunn, and I live at Auk Bay, Alaska. And my favorite activity is being outdoors. Any place outdoors in our beautiful country.
My name is William T. Dunn, and I live in Auk Bay and have for almost 35 years now. 30 years now, I beg your pardon. I've been here 35 years. And my favorite activity? One of my favorite activities, to be quite candid, is sitting up in front of the garage smoking a good cigar. Isn't that awful?
I'm from Juneau, and my name is Casey Galdabini. I like to climb at the rocks at the glacier. Just kind of go to the mall, and my favorite place in Southeast is Juneau.
Before the cooling winds of fall sweep down over Juneau and your heating bill goes up, stop in at Cameron Plumbing and Heating to check out some of your money-saving options. The extraordinary monitor heater, which heats most homes for $1 a day, is programmable and stays cool to the touch. Or see the beautiful DeVille. It burns the efficient blue flame that you can actually watch. It's beautiful on your hearth, giving you warmth and old-world atmosphere. Stop by Cameron Plumbing today. Cameron Plumbing, they're good people to know.
ABBA Commercial Engraving Signs and Graphics is your one-stop for commercial and industrial engraving. ABBA offers a full line of engraving services, including desk plaques, trophies, awards, and control panel labeling. If you're looking for a personalized gift, ABBA can create something special for the occasion. They even have magnetic name tags. ABBA Commercial Engraving Signs and Graphics, serving all of Alaska from Juneau. Call today.
Fascinated 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
In the depths of the ocean, these unusual sounds are being made by the humpback whale. These strange melodic patterns were first recorded by U.S. Navy personnel of Oahu, Hawaii in the 1950s and have since been the subject of major scientific investigation focusing on their patterns and meaning. Whales don't sing by vibrating their vocal cords, because they don't have vocal cords. They make sounds by passing air back and forth in their head cavity, producing the same kind of noises people can make when holding their breath. Humpback eyes are functional, but not of much use in the depths where their keenest sense is hearing. Whales can perceive frequencies that cannot be heard by any other mammals. They are warm-blooded and travel in groups of 3 to 5 called a pod. They feed milk to their young and have a body structure adapted from prehistoric land mammals. Whales in general, and humpbacks in specific, have large, highly developed brains. Researchers believe they are more intelligent than the apes. Alaskan waters are the home of many kinds of whales, especially during the summer, when the whales feed on small fish and krill, which are little shellfish related to the shrimp.
The North Pacific humpback whale is seen in the waters of southeast Alaska and Prince William Sound in the summer, and in the warm waters off the coasts of Mexico and Hawaii, where this film was taken in the winter. Humpbacks are a medium-sized baleen whale, 40 to 50 feet long, and they weigh 30 to 40 tons. They were harvested nearly to extinction. Alaskan waters once had an estimated 4,000 to 6,000 humpbacks. 60 have been counted in recent years. Humpbacks have gained fame recently as the most vocal of all the whales. They spend much of their time near land, and they become the object of intense study. Yet there is still very little known about the humpback whale. Alaska Review traveled with researcher Sharon Gwynn and a party of people aboard the 73-foot sailboat Wendigo last summer in Glacier Bay. It was a cruise sponsored by Oceanic Expeditions to do research on the humpback and paid for by people who wished to devote their summer vacations in search of the whale.
Our primary purpose is to find out something about how many humpback whales there are and where they spend their time and what they do there. It sounds basic, but we kind of have to start from where we're at, start from the beginning. What you want to listen for is anything that sounds like a clicking noise, or anything that sounds like a whistle, or something like a door creaking, guitar strings breaking, babies crying, goats bleating. They really do sound like that. Sometimes they sound like chickens, too.
Humpbacks can eat several tons a day of food: shrimp, herring, candlefish, krill, apparently almost anything it can find in enough quantity that it can sift through its gaping maw of baleen.
The reason why we're doing plankton toes is to find out what kind of biomass is available for whales to eat in the way of food, and a plankton net. We're using both a phytoplankton net and a zooplankton net, so we're trying to get an idea of what's available and how many whales it might be supporting. Almost to the surface, a couple feet. Quit with the winch there. Thank you. There's at least one euphausid shrimp anyway. Euphausids are one of the things. They're a small shrimp, maybe about 5 to 10 millimeters here, or a little bit over. And they're one of the things that we think the humpbacks are feeding on in Glacier Bay anyway. Bubble net feeding is one of the modes of feeding that the humpback whale uses, and it's the only whale we've seen that appears to do this, and it only occurs in certain places as far as we know. And those places include Glacier Bay and other parts of southeast Alaska. What the whale does is to make a circle underwater, blowing bubbles as it's making a circle, and then after making that circle, you can see the bubbles rising to the surface. So they are making a curtain of fine bubbles in a circle, which presumably acts as a net around a school of herring or capelin, and as a herding mechanism for the whales, because the whale then comes up in the middle of that circle with its mouth open and is able to gather up a large portion of that, whatever's inside the net, and then shuts its mouth and strains the water out.
Charles Giraz, a high school biology teacher from Juneau, has spent much of the last 12 summers tracking whales in southeast Alaska. He noted the whale's technique of bubble net feeding, and he's concerned about the future of this endangered whale.
What we see now is that this area around Glacier Bay is rapidly declining in terms of its population, and we feel that relates to the vessel traffic. We see certainly that the area here in Auk Bay has dropped significantly. That we attribute to a combination of vessel traffic and the taking of the herring. When an animal reaches that state, that low number condition, that people say, all right, this animal is endangered, we have to start examining several characteristics that support this animal, and certainly one of them is habitat, and we end up defining it as critical habitat which is absolutely necessary to the animal. It has only been recently that we've had enough understanding, enough measurement, so that we can say, well, these are the things that must not go on from here. The concern is certainly that it might be too late. If not in southeast, then certainly it might be too late for some areas like Auk Bay or for Glacier Bay. Are we really in a position in this day and age where we say we can afford to protect the species? In some cases, we've opted to say we can destroy a species if it's in our national interest. And in other cases, I think what we're saying is we better examine whether or not this is national interest at this point, whether we are really at a crisis stage in terms of the protection of our nation, or whether we're at a crisis stage in terms of protection of a species.
Even though we are no longer killing the humpback, man's insatiable curiosity is becoming a threat to the whale. So much so that the National Marine Fisheries Service has made it illegal to harass whales. Violators face up to $10,000 fines. There's an effort in Hawaii to create a humpback sanctuary in the breeding grounds off the coast of Maui. Much attention is being paid to the protection of the whale, but this comes at a time when, through past slaughter and present neglect, the future of the whale is still in doubt. But one might ask, who really cares? If we can't use them, what difference does it make whether or not whales continue to inhabit the oceans?
As a biologist, it's important to me to care about whales, and I think should be to the rest of us, because they're just another part of the variety of ecosystems that we have. And when you look at an ecosystem and compare it to another one, it turns out that the more complex ones, the ones with the more varied forms of life, are the ones that are more stable and tend to be buffered against disturbances the best. So that's why something like the humpback whale, which is an endangered species, deserves some care, simply for preserving a whole bunch of different kinds of forms of life and not being so short-sighted that we let them pass away without our even trying to be proper stewards.
At Taku Oil Sales, they deliver top-grade heating fuel to residential and commercial customers. Top-grade oil that offers lower sulfur, which burns cleaner and smells cleaner, too. The majority of their customers enjoy Taku Oil's automatic fill using a degree-day system. And once again, all of their customers can count on fast, dependable service. Taku Oil Sales has been locally owned and operated since 1953, providing their customers with the best quality heating and marine fuels. Taku Oil Sales, where new customers are always welcome. Call them at 586-1276.
Make your next dance, party, wedding, or big event memorable with the help of the good people at Good Humor Balloons in the Mendenhall Mall. From simple to dramatically sophisticated, the creative folks at Good Humor Balloons in the Mendenhall Mall will fulfill your fantasy, no matter if you need one piece or a haul full. Call Cherie at 789-9509 to find out how your next party will be talked about for years. Good Humor Balloons, 789-9509.
For just a moment, look around. Where did all that stuff come from? Well, here's a clue. Alaska Marine Lions. Yep, AML. Need I say more? If you eat it, walk it, drive it, ride it, or wash it, chances are AML delivered it. If you cook on it, sit behind it, draw with it, listen to it, watch it, even dehydrate it, you guessed it, most folks Alaska Marine it. Direct to Southeast Alaska twice a week, this week, every week. If you play with it or play on it, row it, tow it, show it. If you wear it, tear it, share it, pair it, even declare it, well, let's just say AML probably had a big hand in bringing it home for good. For you, for me, for Southeast. It's a commitment we can definitely live with and do. Alaska Marine Lines, they don't just promise, they deliver Southeast. Cars, trucks, boots, balls, bandages, batons, bassinets.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Salmon are a valuable part of our Alaskan way of life. The salmon has served as a source of inspiration for our art, folklore, and music. Because our waters are so rich with salmon, many Alaskans depend on it for food and jobs. And many of you know the fun and excitement of catching your first fish just for recreation. Fish are caught in many ways. We will look at these methods later. But first, let's look at the varieties of salmon found in Alaska.
There are 5 members of the Pacific salmon family, and each have their own characteristics. The largest is the Chinook, or king salmon, weighing about 30 pounds. They return to spawn at the same time as the sockeye, or red salmon, which is early June for southeastern. Late June to midsummer bring pinks and chums, or humpies and dogs, as known to many Alaskans. Silvers, also called cohos, arrive in the fall. No matter what they're called, their journeys provide a full season of subsistence, sport, and commercial fishing. This once worshipped fish provided most of the food for the many different tribes of people from Northern California to the Yukon River. And Alaska's mammoth salmon returns issued an early invitation in our history to resource exploiters. Big canneries from California and Washington set up business in the territory in the late 1800s, and thus began the decimation of the valuable salmon resource from greed and a lack of regulation. This abandoned cannery, along with scores of others in southeastern Alaska, stand as hollow reminders of the days when fish traps and nets robbed tens of thousands of salmon daily from their chance to spawn, gradually wiping out stocks in many areas. It became apparent to Alaskans that the dwindling salmon stocks had to be protected. Statehood gave Alaska the right to manage her fisheries, and after it was achieved, the picture changed drastically. 1958 was the last year for the traps. The long process of rebuilding the ravaged salmon began in 1959, and it hasn't been easy. Salmon became the single most important food thousands of years ago when paths of migrating animals brought native people to prime fishing spots. Drying and smoking salmon at fish camp remain vital to many Alaskans today, just as it did to their ancestors.
Yeah, I love to stay in camp. I like camps like this for fishing. Just try to get something to eat. Either way, we've got to save up for winter. We don't sell no fish. We try to save everything we get for ourselves. Everything.
The subsistence lifestyle is bearing a lot of pressure today, as the whole question of subsistence in a modern world is being challenged.
But they used to be good fishing. Right now, ever since people started buying fish, it's really hard to catch fish.
Ever since people started buying fish?
Uh-huh.
What do you mean?
Black people got license to sell fish. They sell fish, and they don't just carry one wheel either. They'll try to put in all they can.
This subsistence user, like the rest of Alaskans, is concerned with maintaining the salmon population. The unique life cycle of the salmon holds the key to both its numbers and its reliability. Nature assures an abundant beginning when the female salmon lays between 2,000 and 8,000 eggs. She digs a hole in the bottom of the stream for the eggs, and the male deposits sperm over them. The eggs remain protected in the gravel bed until they hatch. In early spring, salmon eggs hatch into what is called an alevin and is still attached to the yolk sac it feeds on. In late spring or early summer, the fry or young salmon that has used up its food supply swims out of the gravel and migrates downstream into lakes and eventually saltwater. Young salmon spend their first year feeding on plankton, small fish, and insects. After 1 or 2 years of feeding, the salmon smolt begin the migration to sea.
The streams of Japan, Siberia, Canada, and the United States share this rich resource, but the fresh waters of Alaska attract the greatest numbers. Entering Alaska waters, these gigantic schools split up. While some travel 1,000 miles or more up the Yukon, others find their home in shallow creeks cascading from the fjords of southeastern Alaska. The largest runs are attracted to Bristol Bay and Kodiak Island. There is a variety of gear for bringing in the commercial salmon, but purse seining and gill netting catch most of the fish in Alaska. Some things about fishing haven't changed for centuries. While mending a net, Heidi Lee explains how a gill net works.
Gill net hangs like a curtain in the water, you know, and it's maybe 300 fathoms long, and it's stretched out like this. And the top is the weed line. That's what I'm working on right now. And then there's corks attached on top of that, keep it up. And then there's a lead line on the bottom, very heavy, and it weights it down. And so they set out this line in the water. Maybe it takes 10 minutes to set. But anyway, the fish swim through and they get their gills caught, you know, right through this little stuff, you know. And that's the end of the old fish.
The bigger boats that are capable of netting thousands of dollars worth of fish in a single set are called purse seiners. They operate with a larger crew than gill netters. Frank Warfel has the MRS, a purse seiner out of Wrangell. What is seining?
It's just a net that's 250 fathoms long. It's got rings on the bottom, it's got a cork line on top and a lead line on the bottom. There's a line that goes through the rings, and you just set the seine out, kind of in a horseshoe shape affair. And the object is the fish swim into the seine, then you close the seine up and purse up the bottom, and then the fish are trapped in the net.
We have just seen a method to catch fish called purse seining. What other ways do you remember to catch salmon? Sport fishing, fish wheel, gill netting, and once again, purse seining. The salmon not caught always return to the same stream from which they once began. Even here, they must pass hazards from wildlife. The salmon's difficult struggle upstream is to search for suitable spawning areas in which to lay their eggs. These eggs begin a new cycle. Within a week after spawning, the old salmon dies. Their dead bodies will decompose in the months to come. When the young salmon hatch, they will feed on the plankton which is produced from their parents' bodies. The life of the salmon is an important one, from beginning to end.
I made my way home, man, I'm finally home. I run a hot bath, put on some Nina Simone. I think for a minute, then I put it in poem. Everything I write's a part of life where I'm from. The wind comes up and clouds cover the sun. I can't unzip my jacket cause my hands are so numb. Feels like I got nubs instead of fingers and thumbs. And my plum joints ache when the barometer jumps. I'm from the greatest state, not the lower 48. The food I'm grubbing on ain't all processed and fake. But in order to get it, you gotta dance with fate. Step outside into your net.